100 years ago, the beautiful Basilica of Mount Tabor was erected on this mountain, on the remains of earlier buildings, which can still be seen in the crypt and basement. Planning began in 1911 by Giulio Barluzzi and was then resumed in 1919 by his brother Anthony, who was entrusted with the construction of the work, which lasted in total from 1921 to 1924. Barluzzi chose to build a church that would recall the Romanesque Syrian style, placed between the 4th and 7th centuries. Notable amongst its exterior features are two massive towers on the facade connected by an arch in the Byzantine style. Inside, the church is divided by pillars into 3 naves, of which the central one ends in a semicircular apse, featuring a gilded mosaic depicting the Transfiguration. Christ in the center is placed between the prophets Moses and Elijah, with down below Peter, James, and John. Barluzzi's symbolism continues to speak in the other elements built into the basilica. On the steps down to the open crypt, mosaics can be seen that elaborate on the theme of Transfiguration. Jesus experienced several transfigurations throughout his life, from his birth on earth to the institution of the Eucharist, to his sacrifice on the cross and his resurrection. All these events are therefore rendered in the figures chosen by Barluzzi. There are 2 chapels in the towers, one dedicated to the prophet Elijah and the other to Moses. And to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Basilica of the Transfiguration, once again we went up the mount together with Brother Massimo Fusarelli, Minister General of the Order of Friars Minor, who is visiting the Holy Land from April the 15th to the 20th. Holy Mass was celebrated in the crypt with the participation of Franciscan communities from the Galilee region. A moment also to remember, as the Minister General highlighted in his homily, St. Francis's connection with the main element of the Basilica, light. In his spiritual journey of conversion, the Poverello of Assisi experienced this polarity. The light of the Lord was making its way into him, but he still felt the weight of his darkness, sins such as that of being turned only to himself.
I
like to recall Francis's experience right here in this basilica, which is filled with light, whose 100th anniversary we remember now. And pausing here in prayer, I have the experience, especially with young people, arriving here on foot from the plain and going up. You come here with fatigue, with sweat, but also with all the inner travail of the pilgrim who brings his life and his darkness here. My darkness here finds itself immersed in a reality of light that is the reality of God's holiness. Here, I hope it may help those who may come here, or those who may also avail themselves of this remembrance through social media, to feel in themselves this alternation of light and darkness, and to be reached by the light that is the gospel of Jesus. After the Holy Mass in the side part of the Basilica, an exhibition entitled LUXTENEBRA was inaugurated. Brother Riccardo, guardian of the convent, highlighted how the committee that was created for the Jubilee of the 3 basilicas, Tabor, Gethsemane and the Church of Jericho, wanted to capture the most significant moments of Franciscan history in these 3 places, whose constructions were entrusted to Architect Antonio Barluzzi.
Quello che adesso presentiamo oggi, che è proprio l'inizio, e anche sarà fatto a Gerusalemme.
What we are presenting today will be done in Jerusalem at Gethsemane. It is a mini exhibition that is a general presentation of the basilicas, their geography, history and architecture, but also the artistic heritage that the basilicas of Gethsemane and Tabor represent.
Patrimonio artistico anche di queste basiliche, sia al Getsemane sia qui al Tabor.
Regarding the title of the exhibition, LUXTENEBRA, the committee wanted to present the centrality of the biblical narrative, the Passion of Jesus, from which Moses and Elijah are the witnesses, and then the light of the Transfiguration, in which the Lord is manifested as God.
La prima testimonianza, la prima fonte.
The first source is the gospel source, and what we celebrate every day. The pilgrim groups who come to the Holy Land and have the grace to celebrate the Eucharist there celebrate the Mass of the Transfiguration of the Lord, a special celebration that we will experience on August the 6th, a day that will also be the conclusion of the Jubilee year.
Anche la conclusione dell'anno giubilare.
A light imprinted in the memory of the apostles who, before going to Jerusalem and seeing Jesus die on the cross, were strengthened in their faith. Thus, admiring the brightness of the Son of God, they had the strength not to succumb in the shadows of death.
Così anche nella nostra vita, il Signore dona a noi dei momenti di
So also in our lives, the Lord gives us moments of light, sometimes in moments of prayer, sometimes in listening to a page of the Gospel, sometimes in a moment of worship. We are to cherish these moments because we will need them precisely when moments of darkness, of inner difficulties related to the suffering experiences of death come, like the one we are experiencing here in this time of political instability, war and death. We need the light that Easter gives us and the light that the Transfiguration gives us as a foretaste of Easter.
Che ci dà la Pasqua e della luce che la Trasfigurazione ci dà come anticipo della Pasqua.